Before the heroes figure out how to get past the climax and arrive at a story's resolution, there is typically a time of crisis in novels and movies. An all is lost moment occurs frequently when it appears that the hero has failed miserably. This episode is exactly that. In the Eye, which takes a break before the season finale, all our main characters experience a dark night of the soul after building up to a significant advancement in the action in the previous episode. The Harfoots have expelled the stranger from the group and had all their possessions destroyed by a new, silent character, the Dweller. The Numorians and the Southlanders are counting their losses following the catastrophic eruption of Mount Doom. Durin and Elrond are dealing with Durin III's opposition to the plan to save elves by mining Mithril. As we approach the final few episodes of the season, the pace has unquestionably accelerated. The Southlands have been destroyed and Muriel is now blind as a result of Mount Doom's eruption. A Balrog has awoken as a result of Durin and Elrond's attempts to preserve the elves, and the Harfoots appear destined to starve. As we approach the first season finale, the story is working hard to make up for the really slow start to the season. However, Harfoot Sadok Burrow's neck-worn ring, which resembles the one ring the Frodo would wear later, remains the closest thing to a genuine known ring we've seen on the programme. Possibly next week, the majority of characters' destinies are known. Hence, the series nevertheless unavoidably bears the stigma of the prequel. We are unable to empathise with Elandril's concern for them, though Bronwyn, Arondir and Theo all are new characters that are likely to perish either because they are the only three Southland characters we are following. This is because there are no red shirts left in the plot. As opposed to poor old Ontamor, the comic in Isildur's crew, whose demise was sealed by the instant he declared he'd had enough of fighting in the previous episode. Ontamor rests in peace. We will miss your light-hearted moments. Thank heavens Disa and Durin are still around, since they're the only characters in the programme who can effectively blend fun and seriousness. The least amount of their plot is developed in this episode, although it does end with a horrifying picture. The series has used references to Lord of the Rings or nostalgia for Peter Jackson's film's finest in the scene where the Balrog awakens. Additionally, even if you are unfamiliar with Lord of the Rings, it is a frightening image, so that contributes to how effectively it works. Durin III gave us a clear sense of how dangerous it is to mine that deeply, and we are all aware that there may be a Balrog there. This is due to the story of Gil-galad in episode 5. It's a shame the episode didn't end with this scene. While it's a clever idea and nicely executed, we've all known for weeks that the Southlands would turn into Mordor, so it doesn't quite have the same impact as watching El Balrog stir into action. Because all those people are new, the Harfoot's plot has a clear edge over the rest when it comes to the prequel problem. The rest of the Harfoots are unknown in Tolkien's literature, and we honestly don't know what might happen to any one of them. So anytime any Harfoot is in danger, it's that much more uncertain and exciting for the audience. That goes even for the stranger. Even if we assume he is a figure we'll see again in a later iteration. Even the characters of the Harfoots themselves are becoming into a more complete and relatable people. They have been portrayed with some contradictions over the series. For instance, Lago's statement about remaining loyal to one another is lovely, but the Harfoots' attitude from earlier episodes don't seem to support it. These are folk who, even if they break their foot, would leave a friend to die. In this episode, though, we see them make a little more of an effort to support their buddies, and they also give us our new Middle-earth spin on the proverb. Lago threatens anybody who would hurt a hair on her foot rather than her head, because Harfoots and Hobbits both have hairy feet. A great touch, really. Even though the big question remained unanswered, we are beginning to learn the answers to some of the smaller ones. For book lovers, the most pressing one is, what exactly is going on with Galadriel and her husband Celeborn? Galadriel and Celeborn are already married in the novels at this point, though they are not currently cohabited. Galadriel, who refers to Celeborn as lost and recalls the last time she saw him as he was leaving the battle in ill-fitting armour, gives the impression that she believes Celeborn is dead in the television series. The fact that Galadriel believes he is dead, despite the fact that we all know he's alive, may be relevant in Season 2. Who is Theo? A fresh area of potential suspicion that is introduced in this episode. He receives an elven sword from Galadriel. It doesn't immediately come to mind any other human character from Tolkien's lore wearing elvish swords. Therefore, possibly he is a completely new character. Isildur had a brother named Arion in Tolkien's literature, but he hasn't been depicted in the series. Theo may eventually join Elendil as a sort of adopted son and take on the role instead, though that would make an Arion not Númenórean, which would be a significant departure from Tolkien mythology. It is most likely that this role will go to Isildur's newly created sister, Arianne. Although the path of the season finale is not totally evident, all our other storylines appear to have definite directions by the time this terrible Night of the Soul is over. Prince Durin has been persuaded by Disa to continue searching for Mithril, despite his father's reservations. The Southlands have been made into a living abode for Ada and the Orcs. In order to warn him about the travellers, the Harfoots will track down the stranger. Halbrand will be taken away by Galadriel to receive some elven medicine. The Numorians are departing for home, but they have plans to come back, especially since Elendil has been forced to leave both his kid and his beloved horse behind. If someone will merely bring up the notion that although the season finale's direction is not quite obvious, towards the conclusion of this gloomy night, it might be exciting to see some creation of some really strong rings. And we can close the first season chiefly and eagerly anticipating Season 2. Good showing of the aftermath of the effect of Mount Doom. Not a lot happens in this episode, but it's clearly a setup to finale. I was expecting some questions to be solved, as some of them have lingered far too long. I can't wait to the finale. I hope to have some, if not all, the answers of the questions. Where is Sauron? Who is Halbrand? Who is the stranger? What do the travellers want with the stranger? Who are they? Hope you joined this review. Like and subscribe. Until the next time on Middle-earth Invader.